On the afternoon of November 24th, 1971, shortly after 2 p.m., an ordinary day had begun at Portland International Airport. There was the routine crowd, passengers entering, simple ticket-checking procedures, and a level of security far lower than what exists today. In this environment, a man who would later become known in history as D.B. Cooper entered the main airport lobby. He wore a black suit, held a briefcase in his hand. He approached the ticket window calmly, just like any regular business traveler. He purchased a one-way ticket for Northwest Orient Airlines. He took dollars out of his briefcase, paid, and received his ticket. On the ticket, he wrote his name as Dan Cooper. Later, the media mistakenly called him D.B. Cooper. The aircraft was ready for takeoff. Everyone was moving forward with their boarding passes, going through the boarding process. This flight was from Portland to Seattle, a journey of only 30 to 40 minutes. Inside the plane, the air hostesses were welcoming passengers. They guided everyone toward their seats, luggage space, and every necessary detail. At 2:50 p.m., the aircraft began to move along the runway. It straightened itself, then slowly lifted off into the sky and headed toward its destination. In the rear cabin, passengers were happy. They were chatting with one another, enjoying the view outside the windows, and excited about their journeys. Meanwhile, in the front cabin, D.B. Cooper sat quietly. He also looked outside at the sky, as if planning something in his mind. There was a bomb in the briefcase in front of him, but no one besides him knew this truth. This was the planning that would lead to the hijacking ahead. First, he ordered a glass of beer, hoping to reduce stress inside him. After finishing the beer, he asked an air hostess to sit beside him and handed her a note. It stated, "There is a bomb in my briefcase. Sit beside me." At first, the hostess thought he was joking, but Cooper broke the silence and said he was not joking. He opened his briefcase and showed her wires and batteries resembling explosive material. The hostess took the note to the pilot. When the pilots read it, they were shocked. They sent the hostess back to Cooper to inquire about his demands. Cooper presented them calmly. $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, landing at Seattle and refueling. The pilots immediately contacted Seattle Airport Control Tower and informed them about the situation. The control tower notified the FBI and FAA. Evening was approaching and banks were closing. The FBI obtained marked notes from the Federal Reserve Bank. There were 10,000 $20 bills, and the serial number of each note was recorded. The parachutes were arranged from a U.S. military store. All this happened within hours, and at no point did any passenger learn what was happening. In the rear cabin, people kept laughing and talking. Cooper remained completely calm. His behavior was non-political. He only wanted the money and parachutes. He instructed that the plane must land at Seattle Airport. There should be no snipers. The airplane would be emptied, fuel would be filled, and the crew would await his next order. After 5 p.m., Seattle Airport granted landing permission. The aircraft landed safely without any obstacle or damage. The plane landed. Passengers disembarked. The money and parachutes were delivered inside the aircraft. Throughout the operation, no one shouted, no shots were fired, and no force was used. The airport remained on high alert. Snipers were active on the airport buildings, waiting for a signal. The air hostess came outside and requested a bag of money and a bag containing 4 parachutes. The FBI handed both bags to her, and she took them inside the aircraft.
After receiving the money, Cooper issued new instructions. The aircraft would take off from Seattle toward Mexico. Altitude must not exceed 10,000 feet. Speed must remain low. At 7:40 p.m., Flight 305 took off again. It headed south. Now the aircraft contained only the crew members. Cooper came to the cockpit door and warned the pilots that no one would come to the rear. Everyone must remain inside the cockpit. He ordered them to open the rear stair door. He tied the money bag and parachutes to himself like a professional, without making any mistake. After securing everything, he prepared to jump. He moved toward the back door, but the weather outside was extremely cold and windy. The flight engineer felt one final pressure bump. That was the moment when Cooper had jumped out of the aircraft from the rear staircase. That moment became the biggest unsolved mystery in American aviation history. The jump area consisted of forests, rivers, and snowy regions. On the ground, the FBI, military, helicopters, dogs, and hundreds of officers searched for months. Nothing was found. In 1980, a child discovered 3 packets of money near the Columbia River, $5,800. They were the same notes. The child took the money home and handed it to his father. His father informed the police. Police reached the location, took the money, but even this clue failed to solve the case. Following this event, the United States enforced several new laws: mandatory metal detectors, identity database, verification, cockpit door locks, changes in aircraft parachute door design. In 2016, the FBI announced that it would no longer investigate the case. The case officially remains unsolved. A man entered an airport, bought a ticket, sat on a plane, claimed he had a bomb, took the money, took parachutes, jumped, and disappeared. To this day, there is no evidence whether he is alive or dead.